This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So we are on the show today with Luke Noland with Fourscore Coffee, but that's not all you own, right? That's not your only business. You mind sharing a little bit about your other businesses?
You want me to give up all my secrets?
Are these secrets?
Well, you know,
do you sell
it's kind of
Avon
a secret
on the side?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I
That's how I
noticed
paid
a car
for
in
that
the
boat
parking lot that had the Avon sticker on it.
and my face, just with a big thumbs up.
Yeah,
and a suit.
So you got Fourscore.
Yeah, so we have the coffee shop, and during COVID, we reconnected with Bloom. So I left Bloom as an employee to start Fourscore. And during COVID, you know, a lot of coffee shops suffered pretty bad. And we heard that Bloom was going through some tough times. They had just done a big remodel right before COVID.
Yikes.
So they had already been closed for months for their remodel. And then they reopened, maybe like a year afterwards, COVID hits. And suddenly, you know, they're in the tank. And so my wife and I met in front of Bloom for a job interview. She was interviewed.
You met Jesse at Bloom.
I met Jesse.
You met your wife at Bloom.
Yeah. So it was really special to us, you know?
Yeah.
And so when we heard that there was a chance that they might go out of business or sell, or just that they were going through a tough time, I don't really know what was going to happen. We reached out to them, and I met with my old boss, and I said, hey, Mark, like, love you guys, love Bloom. You guys poured so much into me, taught me a lot. I'm thriving in the midst of COVID because God has given me the wisdom to pivot and do these things. And our sales are going up, not down.
Wow.
And so I hear what's going on at Bloom. I go in there as a customer. I see the environment. I see the people, no life in the place. And I want to help. And he was like, done deal. What do we need to do next? So in 2021, in the fall, I jumped in as a consultant for them. And that was my first real consulting gig. Every time it was just like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that?
Yeah.
This is the first time I like invoiced somebody. And it just worked out beautifully. They had a manager who had been there 7 years ever since I left. And she was totally burnt out. She had given her heart and soul to Bloom again and again. She had had run-ins with the owners. She'd had run-ins with customers during COVID that just exasperated her, you know? And so she said, hey, if you're going to be here, I'm going to step away because I know Bloom's in good hands. And so just like me, she wanted to see it continue. And that was part of the reason she was holding on and not leaving. And it's crazy in coffee. A lot of people do that. They hold on too long. My dad had this saying in wrestling, position over grip. Sometimes you have a good grip on the other guy, but you're not in a very good position. And sometimes coffee people can get really emotional and they keep a grip, but they don't have very good position. And so a lot of people who come up in coffee, they want to own their own coffee shop. They want to be in coffee for the rest of their life, but they're not in a really good position to do that. They're just holding on to a thing that they love and that they really want to keep doing. And so I saw her doing this and I said, hey, go. I got it. We're going to be fine. And sure enough, we took them from about $35,000 a month in sales to a year later, they were doing $75,000 a month in sales.
Wow. What do you attribute the growth to?
A lot of it was just saying goodbye to COVID, taking down the plexiglass, being kind to customers again, taking the masks off and saying, hey, we don't need to do this anymore, you know, because we were way outside of the restriction period. It was just, some people were just still holding on to that mentality. And so we had to let it die, and it had to start behind the counter, not in front of the counter. And, you know, there was a lot of stories, I'm sure everybody heard of confrontations at Costco and this and that. And those things were happening, you know, in little coffee shops and stuff. People were yelling at us. People were yelling at each other. And so to have to be the arbiter and to have to be the mediator and to have to be all these different things, it was too much for a barista getting paid $15 an hour. And so a lot of them pieced out and said, I'm done.
Yeah.
So at one point they had gone down to only 2 people employed there. And now they have 16. So it's like just drastic, you know, understaff. And so we just kind of just said goodbye to some of that stuff, and we just started, you know, bringing back up the culture that had been there before. And so now it's thriving. And Bloom is really special because it has a full kitchen and so they can do food. So it's more like a restaurant cafe. And so one of the things we did was rebranded it from Bloom Coffee and Tea to Bloom Coffee and Kitchen, and started focusing a lot more on the food. And that's where we're really kicking it.
So you came in as a consultant in 21, helped grow them, basically more than double their sales in a year. And then when did you transition into ownership?
Yeah, so after about a year, I started talking to them about taking the reins back, and that's when the conversation of becoming managing partner opened up. And so in January of 2023, I became the managing partner. So bought in some ownership, and the guys it's always been kind of on the side for them. They have day jobs, they have other businesses, and so it was never something where they could just step behind the counter and serve with the staff.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to have a partner who could do that was invaluable.
Absolutely.
And for me, a huge blessing, because not only could I exercise the muscle and explore the idea of having multiple coffee shops without having to start one from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
I could go back to a place that I already knew I could make successful, because I'd done that as an employee and I'd done that as a consultant, and I knew there were still little dials we could turn, things we could tweak to make it even better.
But that's not all, folks. So you have Foursquare, you have Bloom, and then you have House Divided.
Yeah, so in 2017, my landlord at Foursquare started talking to me about taking on some more square footage behind our coffee shop. And I was just exasperated by my rent going up all the time. Yeah, I had already taken on more square footage, opened up a side room to create more seating.
You guys still call it the library?
The library,
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just a little kind of a side room. It's about another 1,000 square feet, kind of a more library feel with a lot of books, couches, booths. It's just really comfortable, good for studying, good for co-working, which is really big, now, and nobody goes to the office anymore. I can't tell you how many times people have walked out of the coffee shop and I hear them say, "Does anybody work anymore? That place is packed," And that's just a funny thing people like to say. And then he said, "Hey, I have this 800 square foot thing on the back. It's kind of a separate building, but it's attached, and there's a door, and I've built this bar, but I don't want to run a bar. And would you run a bar?" And I said no. And the next year I said no. And then the next year I said no. And then I was 3 weeks away from being month to month on my lease, because he would not meet with me to negotiate renewing my lease. And I said, "Hey, Richard, I really would like to get another 5-year lease because I have this thriving business. I don't want to be month to month." And he said, "Well, have you thought about that bar anymore?"
He just wouldn't let it go.
He would not let it go. And so I had to come to Jesus talk with him. I went to his house.
You had to come to Jesus talk about the bar.
Yeah, we went and sat next to his pool, and he made me a hamburger on the barbecue, and he treats me like his son or his grandson, which is really cool. And I think that that's part of the blessing that I've seen there, is like when you have somebody who takes you under their arm, don't push that off. Don't be like, "Hey, I don't need your help. I don't need your mentorship," but rather press into that and say, "Okay, what do you see for me? Because I don't see what you're seeing." And he said, "You could do this, and you could do it really well." And so we took over this space from him in 2021, and we started painting it, putting up new fixtures, developing an idea of what this business would look like. And we opened up this tiny bar behind the coffee shop. He had the liquor license. He had everything that we needed to say yes.
Had he just been sitting on the liquor license? Or?
Yeah, so when you get a liquor license, you have to start using it within 30 days unless your building's under construction. So every, 3 months or 6 months, you have to file a piece of paperwork that says we're still under construction. So that's what he'd been doing, and it was true. He was just doing it really slowly. And so in the end, we transferred the license from him to us, and we signed a lease, and now it's a thriving separate business that operates Tuesday through Saturday in the evenings, 6 to 11, and we serve just basic cocktails, and we are not pretentious. We're not over-the-top mixologists. We just approach it the same way we did with coffee, which is we're going to have a great product at an approachable price, and we're not going to be snobby about it, because I saw a lot of coffee shops be really snobby and drive people away.
Yeah.
And you see that even more to the nth degree with bars. And so we just wanted to have a place where you're not here to get drunk, you're not here to party, you're here to come, with someone that you love or someone that you want to get to know and have a drink or two and have a good environment. It's a mature bar.
Very much
I think
so.
that's a good word to describe it.
But it's not your typical bar either, right?
Why do you say that?
It's kind of got the speakeasy vibe.
Yeah. It's hard to find. It's in an alley. It's got a nondescript door. My GM, Jason, and I, who ironically, Jason was my assistant manager at Starbucks. So he was the guy that I met when I was in shorts and a t-shirt who said, come back tomorrow for an interview. And he was my boss at Starbucks.
Wow, full circle there.
Yeah. So in 2021, he came to me and he said, hey, I've some life circumstances. I'm looking for a job. Do you know anybody? Because he just knew I was involved in the business community, just know people from the church community, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I'm thinking about opening this bar. You want to do it with me? And he said, well, I don't want to be your partner, but I'll be your top dog. So that's what he's been for the last almost 3 years now.
Got it. And so,
Yeah.
But Valerie and I have been to House Divided a number of times. You've had some smaller events there.
Yeah.
And
We've had a lot of fundraisers, which is awesome.
so if somebody wants to use it, how does, if they want to, are they able to rent it out or?
Yeah, so we're on both the coffee shop and the Speakeasy Bar are on an app called Peerspace, Peer. And you can find us on there really easily if you just search in the Roseville area. There aren't many venues available in that area, which I think has driven a lot of business our way. But it's an easy way to have a baby shower, have a birthday party. We've had a lot of people do a speakeasy themed party. So they want to dress up. They want to, pretend like they're in the 20s, and we put on the Roaring 20s music, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really good vibe for that. And then some people have had just, boards of nonprofits have had meetings there and just talk to their staff. And so it could be whatever you want it to be. And we're closed a lot because we're only open in the evenings, and we're closed on Sunday and Monday. So it provides even a place in the morning and the afternoon where people can meet and talk.
I love the space. It's a great
Thank
space. And
my wife gets all the credit for the way that it looks and feels.
she does a great job. Does she do your newsletters as well? Like the emails?
Yeah, she does almost all the emails.
I like opening them.
Do they make you laugh?
Well, they make me chuckle,
Yeah,
the different code
Try to be
words
as
and
cheesy
stuff.
as possible.
Well, over the top cheese, but they're aesthetically beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the green.
We got some crap a week ago because we did passwords that were, the first password was vote. So we're open on Tuesday is our first day open for the week. So we didn't know how the election was going to go, but we made our password vote on Tuesday.
Okay.
The next day we made Patriot. So no matter who the winner was, the password was going to be Patriot.
Yeah.
But we got a little bit of flack because people thought we were referring to the winner as the only Patriot.
Well,
Yeah.
he does have a following called the Patriots.
Oh yeah, that's true. But all of us should be Patriots.
Yeah.
Red, white, or blue.
I
should.
agree. Red, white, or blue.
should.
I love that. But one of my favorite things about the House Divided is that buffalo.
Yeah.
I love that
You
buffalo.
named the buffalo.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me do that.
Yeah.
Bix the buffalo.
Yeah, some little kids asked me the other day, what's the name of that buffalo?
Yeah. So it's just really cool decor, really cool space.
Thank you.
And so to recap, you have Fourscore, you have Bloom, you have House Divided. Anything else on the horizon?
You should get your real estate license.
There you go. Yeah.
I think we're going to become part owners of a restaurant that is struggling near us, that kind of similar to Bloom, similar story, similar trajectory. 16 years they've been open, and they just need somebody to come in who knows what to do.
Wow. Okay.
And
I wondered
if that doesn't happen, roasting coffee is probably in the near future as well. So
That's so interesting to me because you and I had spoken about that in the past, and it sounded like you weren't interested in it at the time.
Well, I used to be part owner of a roasting company, amazing roasting company called Valiant Coffee Roasters. They're in Auburn, California. They're right behind Taco Tree. If you're an Auburn person, you know where Taco Tree is. And they're right behind, next to the axe throwing place. They currently just have a wholesale operation there, but
I've heard
they're
of them.
getting ready to open up their cafe at that space.
Do they do the coffee for
Fourscore.
Fourscore?
Yeah, so if you've bought a bag of beans at Fourscore, it's Valiant Coffee.
That's where I've seen it then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so Eric and I started Valiant Coffee in 2014. And we did that together until 2021. And then he wanted to open up a Valiant coffee shop. And we just both had talked for years about the confliction between the Valiant brand and the Fourscore brand. When we started Fourscore, we invited him to be a part of that, but he was having his first kid, and it just seemed like a lot of extra to add on starting a new business, which I totally understand. And so he decided not to be a part of Fourscore, and so he wanted to go and just do Valiant, and him and his wife have just totally thrived doing Valiant and growing that.
Okay.
And we serve their coffee, and they serve their coffee at a lot of great shops in the greater Sacramento area.
Is it just shops, or there are restaurants that they serve as well?
There are some restaurants too.
Is Sienna one of them, or?
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, because I want to say it is. Because I
Sienna?
love the coffee at Sienna.
Okay.
Yeah.
The restaurants are starting to come around to not just having, a really low grade cup of coffee, but rather partner with a local. Like, why would you do that, right? You serve great local food, like locally grown food. You have local breweries, you have local wineries.
Yeah.
Why would you just buy Folgers and throw it in the thing? Because a lot of times is one of the last things people consume when they go out to dinner, because they get coffee with their dessert.
Yep.
So it could be literally the last thing they put in their mouth before they leave. They finish the last bite of dessert, they take a sip of coffee.
Head out the door.
Yeah. Why would you want the last taste in their mouth to be bad?
That's a really good point. But I'm with you. I wish churches in the area would have like Fourscore coffee or a local person, rather than a big box name brand type of a thing.
Along those lines, we just finished in October relaunching Bayside Blue Oaks Cafe. So Bayside Blue Oaks has a fully built out coffee shop cafe inside of their space. If you've never been there, it's really amazing. They're actually top rated on TripAdvisor in the Roseville area because they have this indoor play place for kids. So when it's rainy, when it's 110 degrees outside, you can bring your kids, and it's a great place to hang out.
So they're serving your coffee now.
Yep.
At Blue Oaks.
They're serving Valiant. So we partnered them up with Valiant, but we came in there for a month, and I was there from first service to last service on Sundays, just helping train their staff, get them ready to be able to be open more. They're about to relaunch being open 5 days a week. So right now they're still just open on Sundays, and I think on Wednesdays maybe.
Any indication
online
that they might do a Bayside Adventure?
So Bayside Adventure is a little different because they have the school there. So there's a little bit of restrictions, that are for any school. And so they can't be open during the week and have people from the public coming on the school campus.
But at least on Sunday, serve your coffee.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. Is that where you guys are attending?
That's where Valerie and I go.
Okay, yeah. Put a bug in their ear. Give them my number.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. Well, when we come back, we will be talking about the topic that we kind of breezed over at the beginning of this radio show, and that was putting down roots and how important that is, because that is something that, whether you're in coffee or whether you're in real estate, it's key.
Important.
Okay, Matt, it is no secret this time of year can get a little bit stressful because there's so much that you need to do. You're spending money left and right for friends, family, everyone coming over. And if you're trying to sell your home at this time, you just want it done easy. And that's what Sabrina wanted. So she called Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team, and she was able to get a cash offer for her home, a dream offer. She accepted it and was even able to stay in her home after closing so she could have a smooth transition to her next home, which Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty helped her buy.
And that can happen for you. No need to do all those costly home repairs, getting your home staged and clean and organized, doing open houses. At least 3 cash offer guys for your home in as-is condition. It's happening to a lot of people. Why not you? Because you expect more, get more with Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty. Just Google Made for More Realty today and get more for your home. License number 1982-171.